two hits tonight. I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular board meeting of the Lake Bluff District 65 Board of Education. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Sure. Susan Ryder, present. Philip Hood,
Present.
Mark Berry, absent. Leanne Charlo,
Yes, present.
Julie Gottschall, present. Richard Head,
Extremely present.
John Moroz, absent.
I would like to note that I'm filling in for our board president, Mark Berry, this evening, and I'd like to ask everyone to rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up, we have the opportunity for public to make comment. If there's anyone in the crowd this evening that would like to address the board, you can do so at this time. All right, seeing no one, we'll move on to the next portion. The agenda, is there any additions to, any additional discussion items that any board member would like to bring forward?
No. So, I suspect it's already planned, but I was fascinated to read the what is it, evidence-based criteria, and I really wanted to see a side-by-side that looked at what the ideal school is and what our school is.
They got the research this weekend. You know, that the research that I showed in the presentation, that's why she's saying. She read it.
I did.
I'm so excited.
As you know, my family and I have a particular interest in this. I think Elizabeth's going to write another article. But I would love to see how we stack up to the, what is it called? The ideal school?
What we will do, what I can promise, because
I have
that's
no
a good
doubt.
thing. We are, all the administrative team attended and put it all together. Meeting on Monday here hosted at for the Lake County. Give us a couple months and we will give you the
Yes.
presentation on it.
I have no doubt you will.
Because I think I saw a lot of people glazing over thinking, oh my gosh, how are we going to get caught up with this? But our team is already thinking ahead. So I can promise you it's coming. For the rest of you, a quiz on evidence-based, that little handout I put in your board update will be in the future with prizes.
Great.
Do it now.
Susan would win, I think.
It's fascinating. Did that article or did the evidence stuff just come out? Did that?
No, Kevin's been speaking on it all year, but at the state level, the evidence-based funding was the topic in January. ESSA, which you guys are already gifted on, came out in February, and then tying it all together came out in March.
It was just the Illinois evidence-based funding criteria that was laid out. This research criteria was just the clearest I'd ever seen it stated.
Yeah, no, that's actually been, I'm sorry, I don't have my.
It's all right.
But
I'll repeat what you said. Yeah.
It's actually been out there for actually a couple years, and so we're putting that out there more.
It's very interesting.
The stuff that's in the news now is just some cleanup language that's being put out there, so we'll get that together for you.
Thanks. A couple months. Yes.
All right.
I thought it was fascinating.
Anything else? Discussion? All right, I think I'm supposed to introduce Mr. Blackmer, Nate Blackmer, to introduce one of our students.
For the student recognition, we are going to put on hold the staff recognition until next month.
Okay, so we're excited. Lake Bluff Middle School is being transformed into Oz as we speak, and preparations are well underway. I'm going to let Ms. C introduce Skylar, but I'll also, after that introduction, request that if you're willing, board members to maybe move out to the front so that we're not forcing her to turn her back to somebody as she sings a piece from our musical. But I'll turn things over to Ms. C to give you a little more information about the musical.
On behalf of the entire Fine Arts Wellness team, I want to thank the school board and the administration for recognizing the performing arts at tonight's board meeting. We are proud that over 60% of LBMS participates in the musical. This year, we double cast the lead of Dorothy, having this role be in both black and white and Technicolor in order to create more casting opportunities for our students. We are thrilled to highlight one of the songs from the LBMS all-school production of The Wizard of Oz that will be presented on April 20th and 21st. I am pleased to introduce 8th grader Skylar Oldenburg, who will be singing Over the Rainbow. Dreams really do come true in District 65.
No, thank you for being here. Great job.
Great job.
Are we lucky or what?
That was beautiful. Good luck.
We are fortunate. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good evening.
I do want to share one thing though for the board, that Nate did reach out to me today. We do have a board policy against pets on property. And if you know the Wizard of Oz, you know that Toto is part of the Wizard of Oz. And so I granted a little tweak of the rule because we have to have a Toto.
Yes.
And
No
it
way.
needs to be a dog.
No way.
So he has very strict rules though on what Toto can and cannot do. And I'm sure there's a place that Toto can take care of his needs. So I just thought I'd share that.
Toto.
We got it handled, but we don't, he was very cognizant of the fact that he knows we just passed a board policy because he heard it and he wanted to get permission to
know.
change it. So I just thought I'd share that.
All right, no committee or no reports this evening, and we have 4 discussion items. But I'd like to suggest that we postpone our discussion of board positions until John and Mark can be here with us in April. And so then we have 3 other items, discussion of non-licensed staffing plan, and then discussion related to our board goals 2 and 3. So Jean, I'll let you
Great.
take
Well,
this from
as you
there.
know, every year we approve the. You know what, we could do that if we wanted to. We could reverse the agenda if you wanted to do that and get
Sure.
rid of that.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
So what
So-
we're going to do is we're going to right now we're going to move the discussion items after the first agenda item on LBES bids so that they can talk and give us the information, and we'll still take the approval down on the approval meetings if that's all right with you.
Sounds good. All right.
All right, Jay, you're on.
Okay, well, I will, I guess, turn it over to Tom, since we did the bids, but we had 5 people attend 5 companies attend the pre-bid meeting. We had 3 bidders. The results are in front of you. We're recommending going with the low bidder. They came in much better than expected, and they checked out and had everything in their bid. Tom can give you more details about that and what their recommendation was.
Yeah, as Jay said, we received 3 bids on March 6th. Amber Mechanical was the low bidder, and did a scope review with them, and they do have everything included, so we are recommending them for award. A bit of interest, in case when that day does come in the summer, they will need a 500-ton crane on site to get the old ones off and the new ones on, so it's going to be a quite interesting few days out there when this takes place.
And just to add, we, as an alternate, we bid the replacement of the additional 3 units that are still working. And that came in lower than we expected as well, but we're still not recommending replacing something that's working, but instead just planning and putting money aside to do it in the future should they fail. And then also, because the bids came in more favorably, I feel fairly optimistic that between what was budgeted this year for the replacement of the 1 unit and with the lower bid and any surplus we have at the end of the year, we may be able to do this entirely out of this year's budget and not hit our fund balance or have to take from next year's budget, but we'll still have to see.
And if we choose not to replace the additional 3 units, my understanding is that if they failed, or one of them failed, it would take about 12 weeks to repair or to replace them.
The units are approximately a 12-week lead time, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the feeling is that they're covering an area of the school that we can get by without, or it could be without air conditioning. That would be okay.
It's basically focused on the gym and the front office. So the 2 big units handle the bulk of the school. And,
Yeah. Okay. So, well, it would create an inconvenience for people working at the school, but okay.
I think our feeling is with the 3 units that if it's not broken, let's leave the 3 running. Especially given the fact that we have time, we can budget it out in our facility plan to replace them as they go, and keeping in mind that the building is only 9 years old.
Yeah.
So I talked to my resident expert because I put so much money into them at University of Iowa, and his comment was the same thing. He's like, Mom, cranes, yes, there's a cost to them, but he said if the other units are smaller,
Yeah, the other units are much smaller, and the reach, the one up front toward the building. So when those get replaced, it's a much smaller crane to use.
I was listening. That's exactly what I told him, and he told me
Yeah.
that we shouldn't.
Yeah,
have
one of the
to
problems
replace them.
with the 2 units being replaced is the reach.
So, I do want to add, because we're discussing only, that I need to talk to both you and Craig in the next couple of days, because we have another potential project that we'd like to talk to you about, a small project, but we would need both of you involved. So, put me on your call list, or when I do call,
Okay.
please make time for me. You always do. So, any other questions? Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so we got you out of the way, so enjoy your evening.
Now we're back
Back
to
to-
Kevin.
Yep.
So as you know, with non-licensed staffing plan, you approved the licensed staffing plan in February, and we always try to have you, discuss it at the committee of the whole and then follow up at the regular meeting for approval. We do not have a second meeting in March. We could always add one, I suppose, if you wanted one. But we're coming back with our non-licensed staff and recommending no change. Keeping in mind with our teaching assistants, that's always, if we wind up getting students coming to the district with additional needs, we would have to add that. With that, I'm going to also turn it over to Kevin because he may have some specific facts regarding this.
No, you've actually covered it.
Thank you. Questions, comments, concerns? There goes that.
All right, so next item is Board Goal 2 Action Plan.
Before Kevin gets started, I would remind you, we have gone through with you board goals 1, 3, and 4. Jay will be discussing next a couple of changes that he made to 3 to address a couple of the board's comments and concerns. Kevin is going over 2 today, and there will be a couple other goals with a couple indicators that we'll go through at the strategic planning meeting at our April committee of the whole meeting. So you've seen almost all of the drafts at this point. So Kevin, I turn it over to you with board goal 2.
So we, in our past strategic plan, one of the things that seemed to get very muddled was between the things that were occurring in the academic arena and those that were occurring that were more around the edges. And then as all of you were having discussions related to the importance of fine arts and the importance of extracurricular and co-curricular activities, that was something that came through loud and clear through the surveys, the parent surveys, and what that looked like all throughout the strategic planning process. What we decided to do is to split out the first goal, which is all very specifically focused on academic achievement inside the classroom, English language arts, mathematics, social studies and science. In this goal, which is goal 2, and have this goal be focused on the other things that create the well-rounded student in the classroom. So you'll see here that some of the sub-goals here are related to things that occur in the classroom, but also occur in the school, but aren't quite social and emotional related. So we wanted to do this for a couple of reasons. First of all, for accountability purposes, you'll see here that there are some things that are coming up for accountability that like in the fine arts areas that we are directly measured on, and in wellness that we're directly measured on every single year, and so that was important to bring to you for review. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that we felt very strongly that these are areas where many of our students shine and do well, and that's important for you to see and for our community to see, and so we wanted to really highlight. So the only other thing that I would add here before I walk through each of the sub-goals individually is that we are thinking about the possibility, so board goal 6 is going to be focused on some of the social and emotional learning and the culture and climate pieces of our district, and so that would be things like some of the other pieces that we're talking about here, and so we may flip the two here, or look at that in some other way here. So goal 2A is really focused on clubs and activities and making sure that students are involved in that and reviewing to make sure that our clubs and activities and our athletic programs are meeting the needs of all students, and that students that we're not just continuing to promote clubs and activities that have been here, that we are seeking new student interests. Goal 2B is really focused on making sure that our fine arts program, which is already high performing, is focused on the future. So with that review that the board has asked us to undertake of the middle school model in the future, it's a perfect time for us to also review things like, does everybody need to be taking choir, 3 days a week for all 3 years during their middle school experience? Should band be offered during the day? Should those sorts of things? Because those are all a part of those sorts of questions that would be falling into Goal 2B. Goal 2C is really looking at making sure that all students, not just the students at the middle school, but all of our students have access to a STEAM curriculum that's not directly falling into science, but really looking at other pieces of science that are not directly measured by our science curriculum. Goal 2D is really looking at wellness, and then Goal 2E is having to do with things that are outside of the classroom, but are our field trips that all of you get to approve if they're overnight field trips, but making sure that those experiences that all of our students get to have are well-rounded, and that they enhance the curriculum, and that they are promoting good students, so that we have good things going on. So for each of them, there's a different target that we've aligned, and some actions, some suggested actions out there, and we are certainly open to feedback.
So goal 1 is the one that is more strictly academic, and this one's
That's exactly.
okay.
Yep, and we that was reported out at the board meeting in December, I want to say.
A couple months ago, and board, we really feel, I forget which board goal it is that focuses on the whole child and the social emotional.
Mm-hmm.
We think we're going to put that goal into the place of this goal and move this goal back, because we're trying to get them in order of importance. This goal is important because of the fact with all the ESSA, and actually Susan might want to add to this since she read the research, as part of ESSA that the part on the fine arts program and the clubs really play into the accountability piece, as well as when we look at the academic enrichment or our work with Northwestern that you're going to be hearing more about to follow up from the presentation at the last meeting. Many of the clubs we're offering are also extensions of learning, for that. So,
and we want to make sure that, I'm sorry to interrupt, we want to make sure that that each of those clubs are natural extensions of what's going on in our classrooms, so that they can further the learning that's already going on.
and offer those additional experiences. So when Kevin and I talked about this goal, while it feels like a soft goal a little bit because the data, we don't have a particular 5 essentials, or it's more of a soft goal in the fact that we need to make sure that we have the discussions with the board talking every year about all of these indicators, because it's going to be part of accountability.
Right.
Do you have anything you want to add to that since you read the research?
No.
Okay.
So I just had a few things that flitted across my mind as you went over this.
Please do.
I'll just tell you that something about developing passions that just chafes at me. I think people are blessed if they have passions, particularly kids, as opposed to meandering interests and just sort of desire to experiment and try. So I maybe would get away from that idea of just a passion and focus on something. I like the first part of it, a well-rounded curricular program. I'm not sure what that allows them to, but I just revisit the developing passions. But
I sort of have the same reaction to the word
Developing
passion.
interest.
Yeah.
Developing interest.
right, or exposure to different things.
We can work on that.
There's just something.
It's funny you said that.
The other thing that is I think I'd reorder these, and maybe the reference to science technology, maybe that's more directed at goal 1. I don't know. It reads nicely. I like it, but I don't know if it's here. And then on 2D, I like healthy lifestyles. I'd also put something about responsibility. Because part of, when I think healthy, I think how you eat. Do you exercise? When I think responsibility, I think financial acumen is so important, and we can't start soon enough with teaching kids about financial
And that
issues.
did come up during strategic planning, yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
So maybe I'd focus on that in here as well.
Okay, all right.
Anything else?
Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, those are good.
Again, and these are they're tailored after what we heard through the strategic planning,
Yes.
what we know is in ESSA and our new accountability, and what we as administrators are seeing for the future as we set the vision for 5 years from now, knowing what the board goals are. Anything else? Kevin, thank you for all your work on this, and the admin team. We provided feedback on that.
Thanks, Kevin. So I think we're going to move on to discussion of board goal number 3, which centers around ensuring long-term fiscal stability and efficiency. I believe, Jay, you're
Yes.
on deck for this.
So we went through this last time, and there were a couple comments. I tried to make some changes to address them. On the first page, so anything that's been changed or added is in red. I kind of, because our tax, the level of taxation that we have sort of permeates the whole thing, it was difficult for me to find a place to put it, so I sort of put it at the beginning and just talked about the goal. And really it almost was unsaid before, that when we are prioritizing our resources, we want to make the most of what we have, and want to be sensitive to the fact that we're asking other people for the money, and that as we're prioritizing the spending, we do that with sensitivity to what we're asking for. So that was added to this first page. And then in talking about board policies, Susan brought up a good point that we need to be a little bit forward thinking and try to make sure that we not only are we currently within this range, but that we maintain this range in the future. So number 3 was added, and it's sort of something that we already do, but to present multiple scenarios with different levels of risk to show that what's the probability that we will be in this range in the future, and to try to make corrective
That's
action
good.
now.
Thank you.
That's good.
And then really, I just added this to goal 1B in terms of metrics. I just, in addition to average class size, I think as we look at evidence-based funding, there are other certified staff needs for supports and things. So I wanted to make it a little bit more broad, and added some ratio of certified staff to students. And those are really the only changes that I've made here.
I think I would add the ratio, the average class size and the ratio of students to staff is going to be more and more in the forefront of our accountability, and it's going to be reported out per school. So not only are you going to be having the usual staffing discussion, it's going to be at a much more detailed level, and the way it's reported out, it will be very detailed to the community also. So there'll be a new emphasis on that, and I think that was an important addition also. Anything else on board goal 3?
Thanks. I like your additions.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the feedback. So as I said, we have a couple more to bring to you, and you will see those with as we review the draft with the Strategic Planning Committee at the April 10th meeting. We're ready for that already to get their feedback. So, okay.
All right, so we're moving on to our action items this evening. First up is action pertaining to what we just heard regarding air conditioning at Lake Bluff Elementary School and our bids for that. So I'd like to have a motion to approve the air conditioning bid, which is package 23A, the HVAC to Amber Mechanical Incorporated, for a total of $484,000.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on this?
I think we covered this last time, but I can't help but be frustrated about the design flaw that went into this difficulty. It's a 9-year-old building, and you look at it and you think, how in the world did we decide that design made sense? But so I just have to ask once again: is there any recourse on the design flaw there? I mean, any recourse with the architects or anybody?
The former architects.
Yeah. Right.
I know Train has said, we've gone back to Train and they've said it's a 5-year warranty and they were unwilling to do anything.
The design,
architect,
yeah.
well, I think it's very difficult to
I'm sure it is very
prove
difficult.
that the design is what caused the equipment to fail. And I mean, the only thing I can think of is to look at the water treatment system that we use.
Isn't one of the companies out of business? I thought Steve told me the initial water treatment company went out of business. So that's another factor.
I don't know.
I mean, it's
I know, it's hard to
there were
be
like
a
10 different factors in that.
I know.
Storm.
Was like, and keeping in mind that the committee
Hindsight.
that came up with this did a lot of research and felt that this was the best thing at that time. It's hard for me to fathom in a 9-year-old building. And we've been having problems with it the whole time I've been here, and this is my 6th year. So,
Yeah, so
Well,
I mean,
I
I
know-
won't say it's impossible. We'd have to expend the effort to try and figure it out and see
So yeah,
who to go after.
I'd just like to give some thought to that. I appreciate that you don't need one more thing to think about, but when you look at the design, it just seems like somebody should have known that was going to cause a problem, and that being covered like that and in a well the way it was, right? It was in a well, kind of in a
Yeah.
depression. Anyway,
do you want to give legal, maybe Jeff Galitz a call and talk it through with him and see
Yeah.
his feeling? I had an initial conversation with Terry, but I would probably go through and talk to Jeff and see if he has any other ideas of who to reach out to.
Yeah, I
it
think-
might be a simple phone call that takes half an hour of his time. I'm not suggesting we want to expend a lot on that, but just to set my mind at ease that this is money we have to shell out and nobody else owes anything.
Yeah. No, and I think I'll definitely look into it.
I think it's a good question to ask too.
What all does that air conditioner cool off? Is that for the whole school or is that
For the whole building. There's 2 units and they do every space except for the gym and the main office.
except for the gym and the main office?
Right, there's 5 units.
So the main office is taken care of already on another system?
Correct.
Another
So essentially,
unit.
we're using this for about 10 weeks a year.
Oh, a lot more than that. A lot more than that. Usually goes on by the beginning, middle of May and goes through October. May, June, July, August,
Why would
September.
it be going on in the summer?
We have summer
Because
school.
we have summer school there.
Oh.
And all the cleaning and air conditioning runs year round. I mean, not year round, but all summer long. So.
Yeah, you've missed the very exciting conversations we've had in the past about why air conditioning has to be on for cleaning and waxing floors, and it's really
Yeah, I would.
exciting.
Yeah, there's the 3 board members, the 3 senior board members would tell you that they could probably educate you on all the reasons we have to run air conditioning year round. That they have a lot of it, so.
And you can get warm days in the spring and the fall that are can be uncomfortable.
All right, any other discussion on this? If not, ask the secretary to call the roll.
Leanne Charlotte.
Yes.
Julie Godshall, yes. Richard Hegg.
Yes.
Philip Hood.
Yes.
Susan Ryder.
Yes.
All right. Motion carries. Next up is the motion to approve the 2018-2019 non-licensed staffing plan. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Julie Godshall, yes. Richard Hegg.
Yes.
Philip Hood.
Yes.
Susan Ryder.
Yes.
Leanne Charlotte.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. The next action item is I need a motion to approve the resolution authorizing honorable dismissal of part-time teachers.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All right,
now.
call the roll call.
Richard Haig,
Yes.
Philip Hood,
Yes.
Susan Ryder,
Yes.
Leanne Charlo,
Yes.
Julie Gottschall, yes.
Motion carries. So, well, we're just moving right along tonight, aren't we? Next is a motion to approve the resolution authorizing non-reemployment of first-year non-tenured certificate personnel. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Philip Hood,
Yes.
Susan Ryder,
Yes.
Leanne Charlo,
Yes.
Julie Gottschall, yes. Richard Haig.
Yes.
And finally, a motion to approve the personnel report for March 13th, 2018.
And then you have to read her name.
Jan Stewart, teacher at Lake Bluff Middle School. The reason for leaving is FMLA and an effective return date of April 26, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Susan Ryder,
Yes.
Leanne Charlo,
Yes.
Julie Gottschall, yes. Richard Haig,
Yes.
Philip Hood.
Yes. And then finally, we have our consent agenda. Is there any item in here that we need to pull out for discussion?
No,
Alright.
you know Mark usually reads through everything that's on there. I'm just saying.
All right. So within the consent.
I think he does, that's why.
Okay.
Alright.
This is the narrated version of the consent agenda. Within the consent agenda, we have the open session meeting minutes of February 27th, 2018, our regular Board of Education meeting. Our closed session meeting minutes, February 27th, 2018. Our treasurer's report, an impressed report, a bills report, and a P-card report. Any discussion on this? We need a motion.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Call the roll.
Leanne Charlo,
Yes.
Julie Gottschall, yes. Richard Haig,
Yes.
Philip Hood,
Yes.
Susan Ryder.
Yes.
We do have one FOIA request. Gina, I don't know if there's anything that you have to say about that.
No, it was, I believe it was one of our standard FOIAs.
Alright.
So,
I'd like to give an opportunity for any final public comments. Seeing none, I move to adjourn our meeting this evening at 7:41 p.m.
Excellent. That was
Well done.
well done.
All in favor, aye.
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 Okay. Good.
okay, thank you everyone.
Excellent.
Have a great spring break and
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
Ready to roll.